It's been a pretty interesting last few days, or weeks even, Madam President. We've had several people in the Capitol here to talk to us about public education, students, teachers, and principals, and everyone here to talk to us about what's going on and what they expect. But I hope we've all learned that our schools are really doing pretty well, Madam President. Students are scoring above and at the national average on ACT and SAT, the college entrance exams. And just look at the SAT scores. I think we should be aware of that. In 2018, in English, reading, and writing, Alaskans scored 561. That's compared to the national score of 529, substantially better. In mathematics, Alaskans scored 544 compared to the national average of 520. That puts Alaskan students who intend to go on to college or training of some kind, that puts them at the 61 percentile compared to the, 69 percentile compared to the 61 percentile of the national average. That's an 8 percentile difference, Madam President. Not bad at all, and something we should be proud of. According to the Alaska Council of School Superintendents, that information came from them. Graduation rates, Madam President, have increased from 64.4% in 1963 to 78.2% in 2017. 64% to 78%. That's a 14% increase in graduation rates. That's pretty good, I'd say, as well. The percentage of district funds reaching instruction is 78.24%, not the 54% that the OMB director often cites. And that comes from Mat-Su School District on a statewide basis. 78.24 of their funds, according to the Mat-Su District, talking about the entire state, goes to instruction, 78%, 24% to support, instructional support. That includes student activities, school front offices, alpha staff, and billing costs such as utilities and insurance. But Madam President, there are problems. Of course, we know there are problems in our education system, many that are beyond our control, like poverty, dysfunction in families, alcohol, drug abuse, the fact that students who are hungry will have a hard time learning, teacher housing and retention in many of our smaller communities, a retirement system that is no longer what it once was. One of the biggest problems we face, Madam President, is high turnover of teachers, of principals, and of superintendents. There's been a 62% turnover among superintendents since 2014. So in the last, imagine that, the last 5 years, 62% of our superintendents have left that job. This high turnover plus unpredictable funding has gotten worse in the last few years, and unpredictability affects teachers, leading to high turnover. And we know, Madam President, there's a national shortage of teachers in our country. So when our schools are funded late, that just pushes recruitment of teachers off to later. And your districts and my district all find that the pool of available hires very quickly dries up. Schools were flat funded for 4 years with a base student allocation of BSA of $5,680. From 2011 to 2014, and also from 2017 to 2019. We passed HB 273 in 2008, which was allowed for a stepped increase in the BSA over 3 years, mostly, as you know, for inflation, and that created a certainty for our schools. At the end of that 3-year period, though, many people thought that there would be additional inflation steps up, increases, but of course that didn't happen. So certainly, Madam President, Alaskan schools face many problems, none of which are solved by reduced funding. None of which are solved by reduced funding. It's good to know that over 70% of the funds we allot to education goes to direct instruction. It's good to know that our graduation rates have increased from 64% to 78%. And it's good to know that students who are thinking about going on to college or career training are scoring better than students around the nation at the 68 percentile compared to the national average of 61. So we have a lot of successful students, Madam President, out there who go on to lead successful lives, who have good jobs, and who go on to post-secondary education. The cuts that are being presented at K-12 and the University of Alaska do not bode well for young Alaskans. College students can go elsewhere, anywhere in the country, if they're not allowed a college education here in Alaska, and may not return. And I suspect there are many of our high school graduates will simply not go on to any kind of post-secondary education if we damage the university and K-12. Thank you.